everybody, Jason Schultz with the Beer Money Pulling Team. This is episode 5 of Behind the Helmet. And what we're trying to do as the Beer Money Pulling Team is show you the people behind the helmets. All we ever see is these beautiful trucks and tractors go down the track. But we really don't know the people inside the helmet. A lot of people know you because of Tic Tac. And I always joke around about Tic Tac. It's actually TikTok. You really burst onto the pulling scene. But let's start. What's your first, well, first of all, Ken Summers, Buckner, Missouri. I should introduce some people. Sydnee's dad. Sydnee Summers, Buckner, just the guy behind the scenes. Yeah. The guy paying for everything.
Yeah.
What's your first pulling memory?
My first pulling memory would be when I was in Lamont. I was probably 6 or 7.
Lamont, what state?
Missouri.
Okay.
Right?
So start why you got interested in pulling.
Okay, why I got interested in pulling. When I was probably just walking, I saw my dad's trophies in my grandma's attic.
So you pulled, Ken?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I started when I was 10, 12 years old. Yeah.
Okay.
So I found his trophies from when he was a kid, and I started asking questions. So he took me to my first tractor pull, and I don't think he even pulled at the first one that I went to. But then the year later, we went to Lamont, and he pulled. And I told him I wanted to do it, and then the next year.
How old were you?
I was 8 then, because I pulled my first time when I was 9.
What were we pulling back then?
Farm stalkers, all over 2255s.
That's right, because I saw you pull at the Cowtown Showdown.
Yeah.
Your dad put that class in for you.
Yeah.
I remember that, because you were so nervous.
Oh my gosh, I told him I didn't even want to do it. And he was like, we put this pull on for you. And I was just so nervous.
Awesome. Ken, what got you pulling? Did your dad pull?
No, nobody pulled, but all the small towns used to always have tractor pulls.
Yep.
And so Buckner used to have one, and we went and watched it a few times. And then Dad always said, hey, when you get old enough, we're going to do it. And I don't know, I was probably 12 years old maybe when we started going to the farm pull.
Was it the Oliver?
Yeah, it's 1850 Oliver.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the affection to Olivers? Did that we farmed with?
We farmed with those, yeah.
Okay.
That was the first tractor you ever bought, wasn't
Well,
it?
there was
Right?
a 2255 that was the first one that I bought myself. Yeah.
Do you still have the Oliver that I've seen you pull?
Yep, so the very first Oliver I started on, I pulled, 3 or 4 different Olivers?
yeah.
3.
Do they
So
do
we
much
have-
on the farm anymore?
One of them, the farm stalker, we still use. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we made her the hot stock that she pulled with MSTPA for a few years.
Okay.
And it just sits around now.
Hey,
Yeah.
I want a shameless plug for Buckner, Missouri right now, the pull. We're going to be there as long as the tractor's running. What is it?
September 10th, Buckner, Missouri, we'll have Outlaws and PPL and MSTPA there.
Big, huge show.
Yep, good show, yeah.
Yep.
Be
Looking
a good
forward to
time.
being there.
A little bit of everything
Yeah.
is there.
And Sydney will be there.
Sydney will be there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very, very important.
Yeah.
All right, so you kind of burst onto the scene, I feel like in the last couple years, right?
Mm-hmm.
TikTok blew up, you're doing the yee stuff.
Yep.
And you had some wins in a row, and everybody's like, hey, who's this little good-looking chick who's spanking everybody's butt? And it's
Oh,
like, this is
God.
Sydney Summers, right?
Yeah.
So remember, kind of when did it really like, wow, I'm a tractor puller? Like, not there's anything against farm stock, you know what I mean? But like you're driving on, mid 2,000 horsepower pig tractor.
I think the TikTok stuff started when it was COVID. And
Yes.
everybody was bored, no one knew what to do, and my sister saw this trend on TikTok. She was like, I think you need to do this. You're gonna go viral if you do it. And I'm like, okay,
What was
whatever. It was like this trend, and you like shake someone's hand, and it's like, oh, you're such and such, but like, you don't look like someone that would play that role. And so I was like all dressed up, and I was like, nice to meet you, and I was in my fancy clothes, and then like when you shake the hand, I was in my fire suit. And so she was right, and it blew up, and then ever since then, it just took off, and then that's
Well, we
when
parked
people-
next to you in McCall, Kansas.
Yep.
The amount of people that came over to talk to you, I was like, holy cow. I was like, you normally like, we're the cool people. And all of a sudden, Sydney stopped like, whoa. We parked next to each other. I was like, ooh.
I remember the first time.
My son goes, you know Sydney Summers? I mean, that's when I was like, okay, Sydney's a big deal now.
Yeah, I remember the first time someone asked for my autograph. I think I thought it was cooler than they did. I was like, what do you mean you want my autograph? So it was cool.
First time she drove the Limited Pro, Ken.
Okay, so we're gonna back up just a little
Oh
bit.
yeah, please do. It's your story.
So when we built her the hot stock that she pulled an MSTPA,
What class would that have been?
it was the 10.5 hot
Okay.
stock.
Mile per hour?
Yeah, it was 12.5 mile per hour.
Okay, so you're
we,
moving.
We actually, I was on the board, and Austin helped coach me to write the rules for it, so we wrote the rules and we started that class.
Okay.
And MSTPA, I don't know how many years ago, but then.
I think you have to be 14 to pull
Yeah,
it.
and so she did all that, and then we had a light super at that time, but she would pull her hot stock and I'd pull a light super.
What, you had a light super?
Yeah.
What was that called?
It was a 2255. We called it Time Taker.
Time taker.
Was it a diesel?
Yeah, it had a V8 cat in it. It didn't do really good, but it sounded cool.
It sounded cool.
It sounded
It looks
cool. Yeah.
It looked cool.
I need some pictures of this. I
Okay.
didn't know about
Oh, it's
I'll
cool.
show you.
And so we went to Holden to go pull one night. Well, her farm stocker, the hot stock, was broke, and we're going down there. I was like, "Hey, Sid, you think you want to pull my tractor tonight?" And she got really quiet. And I was like, "Man, her wheels are turning." She's like, "Yeah, Dad, I believe I will." And I'm like, "Oh man, what am I going to do now?" Because me and Trish had this agreement that she wouldn't pull anything besides the hot stock till we talked about it. Well, she got down there and she put a pillow in behind the cage and got it all to fit her, and she was driving it around, you know, and then she pulled it, did a great job, and I'm like, how am I going to explain this to Trish? Well, we get all loaded up and we start heading home. My phone rings and it's Trish, and she's like, "Oh, hey, how'd the pull go?" We're like, "Oh, real good, real good. Did you do good?" I was like, "Yeah, the tractor did real good, you know." And she's like, "Did you forget about Facebook?"
You were dead.
Yeah,
right?
Facebook busted us. Yeah. And
Right.
so then she pulled the light super for a little while. It wasn't very competitive, but it was fun.
I think this is easier to drive than that one.
Yeah.
Oh, light
Any
supers.
day.
Light supers are like mini rods.
Yeah, that thing
Because of
was
the
not
weight,
easy.
horsepower to weight ratio. Yeah.
And so then when we got the 4.1, Austin,
Yeah. When did you get this? How did that all
we
come
got
out?
it in like 16 or 17 or something like that. And Austin kept telling me, "Well, you got to have a 60/30 in a big block if you're going to be." And I was like, I don't know, you know. And he's like, "Hey, Cole's got this one down there, it belongs to Chad. Just take it and use it for a little while." And I'm
We
like,
never brought it back.
so we
Take
went,
it and use it for a while.
so we took it, we loaded it up, and we pulled it at Buckner, and then I loaded it up, took it back. They're like, "Well, why'd you bring it back?" So then we took it, went and got it again, took it to Wheatland, and then we pulled it the next year. Then Sydney was 16 that year, and when she hooked it at Buckner the first time.
So that was your first time
Yeah.
driving it.
Yeah.
How'd you do?
I had beginner's luck that night for
Did
sure.
you?
Yeah, it was a really pretty pass for my first pass. I mean, we had the front end pretty weighted, and so it was.
How'd you finish? You remember?
I don't
Mid
remember.
pack. I don't really
But it felt good.
It
Yeah.
felt good,
But
yeah,
we-
and it came off the line great, and that's all I really wanted to
Yeah.
do.
So when she first started pulling, when she pulled the hot stock or the farm stocker the first time, she was 9, and it was at Concordia. And she got done pulling. I was like, "Hey, was that fun?" Or, "Yeah, it was a blast." Dad. I was like, "Are you nervous?" "No, I'm not nervous at all, but
My
my
leg
leg won't
keeps
quit shaking."
shaking.
So she was hooked in and she didn't know it. But then,
And I still do it. Last night I was showing him a video after I pulled, and my phone was like shaking the whole time.
and so when she pulled the 4.1 the first time, she's like, "Oh, Dad, it ain't my leg, it's my hands and everything now." So,
yeah,
Yeah.
I still get really nervous.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So is Bailey ever?
She's rode with me one time when we pulled the farm stocker with the
Okay.
cab on it, but she just,
Bailey is Sydney's sister.
Sister, yeah.
So,
she likes coming for the party and hanging out, but she's not really into the motorsports, you know. So that, but she's going to be a nurse, and we get hurt, she'll fix us up.
Yeah.
Fair enough, Fair enough. What are you going to school for, Sid?
So my major is ag business, and then I'm minoring in agronomy. So all farm stuff.
So Ken, you farmed your whole life, right?
Right.
So Dad farmed, you farmed.
Yep.
Is Dad still involved in the
Yes,
business?
yeah.
Okay.
He's here somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I've ever met your dad.
We'll introduce you tonight.
We'll
Yeah,
do that.
yeah.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Sounds good. Favorite thing about pulling, Sydney?
Probably all the people we've met. You always have a good time, and you get along with your competitors, and they all are willing to help you. Like no one, it's never like a battle. You're all helping each other together, and I just love that about it.
So you got to answer Big Rye's question. If you could steal the keys to anything and not have to worry about breaking it and pull it anywhere, any class, Sydney, what would you take?
Definitely not a mini rod. Those terrify me. I think I'd go for a big pro.
Okay. Anybody's particular?
I always looked up to Steve Bailey growing up. I always wanted to, Dad, I want one of those, and that's really what got
And
me.
Steve
into
has the rut cutter, right?
Yeah.
He has a rut cutter, yeah.
That's what got me into pulling, because we used to always go down to Kemper Arena when we were little, and
Yes.
I'd watch him there, and he would always let me look at his tractor and stuff. So if I was gonna drive a pro, I would say Steve.
Nice. Now Steve's involved in this event, right?
Yeah, he is,
yeah.
Building the track and stuff.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard a lot of good things about
Yeah,
that.
he helps us with Cowtown, helps with Buckner, he helps everywhere.
Awesome.
So that's how Cowtown evolved, is we used to go to Kemp Arena and watch the tractor pull there.
Yep.
And then Sydney's like, "I want to do this someday. I want to do this." Well, then that's when they quit having them with the farm show, and they converted Kemper Arena to something else. So well, then she's like, "Dad, I still want to go indoor bowling." So that's when we went around and found somewhere and come up with the idea for Cowtown. But she's a whole
Way to
reason.
go, Sydney.
I know.
Causing your dad a lot of stress.
The
And then I
demise.
told him I wasn't even gonna do it because I was so nervous.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember that well.
And he called me out on Facebook. I think with you on
Yes,
Facebook.
we were live.
Yeah.
We were live.
Yeah.
And then I had to do it.
Yep, I
Yep.
agree.
I'm glad I did though.
Well, I think you got out of school early that day or whatever. Like you had to take a test or something. You were coming. I talked to your mom. So.
Yep.
Ken, what's some of your let's do before Sydnee driving the tractor. Back in the day, this light super Oliver thing. I'm excited about this. So, what are some good memories from those days? Was it MSTPA then?
MSTPA,
like a 6500 light super.
6500, yeah.
I think it was 62.
It was 64, yeah.
Egg chassis.
Yeah, no, it had a.
It was a component.
It was a component, yeah.
Okay.
Well, it had a 1655 rear end, and then it had a tube frame.
Okay, gotcha.
And it come from Maybach's out in wherever they're out east. They built it, and then a friend of mine went to. It was almost in Boston when he went and picked it up for me, and he brought it home. And
where's it at now?
I sold it to a guy, and
did he pay you?
What?
Did he pay you?
Yeah.
Because you're kind of making that face like, I sold it to a guy.
Well, here's how it went. So he come and bought it, and then he took it home, and he had a few beers in him, and he did some gravel road burnouts, and he blew it up. Yeah. But he had a good time, and then he sold it to somebody else, and I'm wishing I'd have never sold it because the tin work on the thing was beautiful.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
What'd you call it again?
Time taker.
Time taker.
So Oliver,
Because it broke all the time.
Well, no, on the back it says a sticker. It says something about for men who grow, and then it says making time or something like that. The Oliver sticker said that, so I come up with time taker instead of time maker.
But then
Oliver,
we
it said
about
Oliver
it.
the time maker is what it said.
Awesome.
And so I come up with time taker.
We had what, rear end problems when you were working on it all the time?
Yeah,
didn't
it wasn't heavy enough for the big V8.
Right.
That's correct. But it was a lot of fun.
Proudest moment of Sydney, like my dad will talk about, like Dad still likes to drive my tractor, and he does better than me, so I have to hear that all the time.
Oh yeah.
And I know you go, oh, Sydney's gonna take over the tractor.
Yeah.
So, but what's a proud dad? Like, you have one that stands out, or is it just a bunch of them, Ken?
Just a bunch of them mainly, but you know, as far as they're growing together and pulling and figuring out, you know, she helps me work on it and everything. But then, you know, to see her go and pull, and then if she comes back in and we don't do good, and then all the kids come up, it doesn't make any difference, you know. Yep.
Are you tearing up?
Oh yeah, you always make me tear up.
I was tear up. I'm gonna cry.
Buddy, don't bust your butt on the ramp.
Yeah, it's slick.
Yeah.
It's slick. If you could steal the keys to anything, what would you drive?
I want to drive Justin Wagler's Pro.
Yeah, he just won.
He just won the other
Yeah,
night.
his Facebook post was 53. It only took 53 weeks.
50, yeah.
For a guy who was so dominant in our class. I mean, we all just was like, okay, seconds.
But he digs in and figures it out, you know. So yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
He actually does.
I don't want you
Who's
to
this little guy?
Come here. Come say hi.
So this is what makes it all worthwhile, all these little guys.
Here, come tell us who you are and what your dad drives.
My dad.
Here, sit right here.
Sit down, sit
Come
down.
My dad has one.
And what's the name of your dad's pulling tractor?
It's called PCL.
I think you're full of it. Isn't it called Faster Horses?
No, it's called 3D.
Okay, tell us who your favorite tractor puller is.
Dad.
Dad.
His dad's Brett Roberts.
Yeah, it's Faster Horses now.
Faster
Yep.
Horses.
Does he
Yeah.
still have his pro farm too?
Yeah, his dad has it.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
has clutch. He has clutch bolt.
His clutch broke?
Yeah. And what's your name?
My name's Benoni Roberts.
Can
What
you
is it?
spit and lane Roberts?
Bit and Lane.
Benton.
Benton.
Yeah.
Benton Lane.
Yeah.
No.
Benton Lane Roberts.
Bennett Lane.
Bennett.
Bennett.
Bennett Lane.
Bennett. Okay, there we go. Yeah.
I promise we're sober. Just too many years of no earplugs at the tractor pulls.
Nope.
Wave, wave. All right, go get Blake. Go get him.
Yeah, well, cool. Anybody else you want to thank, Ken or Sydney? I know your mom, Trish, is awesome.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
everybody always supports us, but I mean, just basically everybody. I mean, we have such a good time, you know, and I mean, not everybody sees it from the promoter side like we do, but I mean, everybody that promotes tractor pulling and puts these things on, it's a lot more work than what everybody thinks it is. And,
Everybody should do it once.
Yeah.
Did you answer the question, what would you steal? What would you drive? Or did
Wagner.
Wagner.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because my ADD caught up with me.
Yeah.
I'm like, did Ken answer that question? I
Yeah.
can't remember.
Yeah. So Justin and Sid, they kind of in the last year, Justin running 4-1s, they had a kind of a little duo that Justin only beat her by about that much one night for 10,000 to win.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Where was that at?
Nashville.
Oh, Illinois?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He told us it doesn't matter if we're first and second or which way it went. And we ended up being first and third, and I missed second by less than 1/10 of an inch.
Yeah.
Oh, I lost sleep over it.
Where was your first win?
My first win was Bedford, Iowa on this tractor
Yep.
2 years ago after I wrecked at Wheatland. So that was a good win. But last year I won what was it, Owensville, California, and Washington in a row, and those were my only.
Yeah, I remember
3
that.
wins
And then I
last
ran
year.
you guys in the clouds.
Yep.
Everyone's like, Sydnee's gonna kick your butt.
And I did not. I had a rough night.
That's okay.
Part
That's
of
okay.
it.
That's part of pulling. Well, guys, we're gonna head up to the track. Ken Summers, love you, brother.
Yep, love you.
Sydnee,
Thanks for all your.
thank you for everything.
Of course.
Yep.
Episode 5 of Behind the Helmet. We premiere these every Tuesday night, right?
Yes.
We have so many shows now, I can't keep them straight.
Yeah.
So
6 p.m.
6 p.m. Thank you
Perfect.
guys. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Love you.
Tractor, they got it corrected. Pulled it last weekend over at the ITAA pole in Illinois. Made a straight hook over there, so we're gonna test it out here and then record it tonight. Sydney Summers, ladies, let's help her out. Young lady behind the wheel, 3